So y'all know I like to jump right into it, no lollygagging, no BSing around. So today I'm showing y'all how to do a frontal sew-in, lace frontal sew-in, not a lace frontal wig. So y'all gonna see the full braid down, the full installation of the bundles, and the full installation of the frontal plus baby hairs. So I'm showing y'all how to braid down only because her hair is really long, and I feel like a lot of people have problems with that. They struggle with that, how to get a flat foundation with long thick hair. So here I am showing y'all that. So in this clip I'm showing y'all how to basically connect the braid. That is how each braid is gonna stay flat, versus you braiding all the braids and then they're just hanging loose at the bottom and you have to sew all those braids together. It just be too much. So what I do is I connect each braid. So if you want to just rewind rewind to that last clip and just see how I connected the braid. I made sure I zoomed in for y'all. That's basically how you do it though. And then just for the remaining, I just let y'all watch it just to see if y'all want to get any extra tips or anything. But you got me going crazy. Just you is so amazing. How long can you go, baby? At last to my body so crazy. Baby, I'm talking crazy. I need you right in my space, but I need it, baby. I'm late, but I say check in with you. I know that I need my friend, but I wouldn't wanna leave. You know I wouldn't wanna please. So of course the same with the opposite side. And then after you're done completely braiding, just go ahead and sew all the braids together. Normally when the hair is this long, I normally have at least 4 to 5 braids to sew together. Depending on how long it is, it could be more. Of course, when it's just regular, normal, it's just literally 2 braids to sew together. But when you're sewing this many braids down, it's no right or wrong way. Just make sure that you're sewing it as flat as possible and you're kind of intertwining it in between the parts of the existing braids. So you kind of just placing them where it's best to go, where they're the flattest at, if that makes sense. Just try your best not to overlap any braids. If you have to, that's fine, as long as it's flat. Just make sure it's as flat as possible. And what I kept doing was like just looking from the side, checking from the side. So yeah. And of course we're gonna mold her edges back with got to be gel. And then so now we're gonna start putting the cap on. And then y'all already know, cut the ears out, cut the holes just so that it could lay better around the sideburns. And then you want to trace their hairline with the glue that you have.
Push P. Yeah, push P. Turn me up. Turn me up, P. Corners in the paddock, get my piece. A push a P.
Cop new hammers for my piece. We don't want no peace.
Got a spot at puff spot. Jeff for peace.
Drop the data, now we plot inside the peas. She not a lesbian for peace. She turned lesbian. Push a P.
Always place the lace on first before gluing it down, just to make sure you know where it's gonna be, just to see if you need to do any plucking, because doing plucking once it's already glued down, that's just messing up your foundation. So like while you're plucking on that fresh glue, you just pulling the lace away from the glue. So you want to make sure you pluck in as much as you can before, because you are gonna have to do some plucking maybe, but you just want to try to minimalize it so that you're not doing as much pulling. I also do that as well because the hairline that you plucked before your client came is not going to always match the hairline that your client came with, their natural hairline. And I'm the type of stylist, I don't like to put the lace too much on their forehead, so I try to minimize that as possible. Yeah, so always double check before, just in case you have to make alterations, because news flash, nobody likes their lace on their forehead. They kind of like it to mimic their hairline. Also, ladies, for her lace, I use Tan from True Match Lace Conceal for the lace tint, and then I put the name of the makeup on the screen for y'all just so y'all could see what I used. Out of that palette, you're just gonna use the best shade that matches your client. Y'all, my camera really just don't want me to be great. Like, the camera really just be dry hating. So the camera cut off for the initial beginning of me laying this glue. So I'm starting at the second layer for showing y'all. But what I did is basically kind of simple. I just laid the frontal down and I just kind of mimicked the hairline a little bit. It's easier when you keep the lace attached so that it's like not a right or wrong type of thing. It just makes it easier in the end when it's time to cut the lace off and when it comes to applying it. As you're applying it, you'll start to see exactly what I mean. Repeat this about 3 to 4 times.
I don't wanna be denied. Girl, drive round the town in your drop top, girl. You know stop shop, girl. Little more the dirty one, rock that world. Is a top girl. Me and you together is a rock that girl.
Now, when it comes to laying the lace down, you're gonna be able to see where the glue start and where it ends. So it's best to try to match the lace up exactly where the glue is, just so you're not cutting into the hair that you plucked already. You want to try to keep as much as that hairline as possible. And when it comes to this part, you definitely want to keep your comb handy when it comes to laying the lace down, just so that you getting any extra hairs out the way, and just so you're not using your fingers. Do not use your hands at all. Now, when it comes to cutting the lace, you want to cut as close to the glue as possible. Just make sure that, like I said, you're not cutting too much into the hairline that you have plucked already. If you feel like you are, just cut around the hairline and just go back to glue in any excess pieces that didn't make it, or the ones you feel like should have made it. So it's always easier in the end to go in just like with the skinny part of the comb and just get those extra parts that you didn't catch.
I don't know what it is. I can't tell you what it is, but you got me going crazy. Just you is so amazing. How long can you go, baby? At last, till my body's so crazy, baby. You make a like, now you not like it. You know I dealt with you the nicest. Nobody touched me in the righteous. Nobody text me in a crisis. I believe that all of your dreams are duration. You took my heart, all my keys, and my patience. You took my heart, I must leave a decoration. You mistaken my love, I brought for you for foundation. All that I wanted from you was to give me something that I never had, something that you never seen, something that you never been. But I wake up and nothing's wrong. Just get ready for
And remember, like I told y'all, always keep a stick handy. If it's a popsicle stick, you can get those off Amazon. You can use a stick of a comb. I always use my handy dandy orange stick. But if you are using the same thing repeatedly, make sure you are cleaning it each time with alcohol, just so that nothing is interfering with the new install every single time.
My nigga, I'ma be your killer. Nobody gonna play with you when I'm with you. Go against any nigga like fuck this glitter. Skeet all dirt on bitches. I put it in for you, I spin for you. Whatever you with, I'm with it. How you gon' cost a nigga out rockin' with you? I got you lit in the city. I been multitasking, rapping and being a daddy to my little children. I been spending on business and spending until I'm dizzy. I do all the smack, you never step ahead.
Sometimes after cutting the lace, you realize that the lace tint didn't hit all the parts that you needed it to, but that's okay. You could just take something like what I have for eyebrows and just get the same foundation that you used or something a little darker and just place it right on top of the lace. It should be a minor fix, so it should be easy. The baby hairs are starting at the same place on both sides when it comes down to a middle part. You want that bust down to be so neat and sleek. So what I do is, you're gonna see me doing it, or you probably saw it before if you rewind. I take the comb and I just mark off like how I'm doing right here. Just mark off where I want it to start at, and I do the same for both sides. That's how I know that it's equal. before wrapping it up and spraying this spray, you always want to hot comb the hair back just to make sure it's all out the way, so that once you take the wrap off, it's still neat, set in place as far as like the hair you left out for your baby hairs. And I always use an elastic band, and I always spray the Eden spray, any type of holding spray. Eden, whether it's got to be two, you can use that too. Just to give it that look, like it's already melted, but the spray just top it off. It's like icing on the cake. All the bundles and the lace is from me. We use the 2022-24 Indian Body Wave. If you want to purchase, just go to my Instagram, shoot me a message, and we can go from there. Yeah, so I did co-wash it. That's why it doesn't have that normal body wave texture. If you don't know, you definitely are supposed to co-wash any bundles that you buy. They are not clean when you receive them. They are not clean. So always co-wash for just cleanliness for number one. And also just a better look. Like I feel like the hair flows way better after you co-wash it. I'm gonna do a video on co-washing too, so y'all can know exactly what it is and how to do it. So once I started sewing in the bundle, I always double my first bundle. Just so that you can fit in as much hair as you can, because as you get to the top, you are going to be single wefting instead of double wefting, just so that it could be flat, especially when the client has thick hair. Now, even though you've already braided, I just can't talk today. Even though you've already braided a flat foundation, it's just still like it can be even flatter if you're doing single wefting instead of double wefting. So very important. So once you double the first bundle, after that you can do single wefting. I always to secure the track, I always like triple knot mines every time once I'm sewing, as you can see. So yeah, I just left in the full installation process for the bundles just so y'all could see track placement for frontal sew-ins, because that I know that was something I struggled with when I first started doing lace frontals. So yeah, And then right here, I like to go in and add in leftover tracks if it's space available. Sometimes it's not. So yeah, if it's space available, just go in and add in the tracks just so that you could get that fullness. It's better for the curls, just better overall, look more natural. So now, once I'm done with the brushing part, I like to hot comb the roots of the tracks, just to give it that flatness. Even if you know you about to curl it, it just gets all the lumps and the bumps out. When it's time to like hot comb the frontal and hot comb that back piece for the off the frontal that's gonna cover up the tracks, always use an edge stick, a wax stick. Any type is fine. I use the She So Bomb collection. Sometimes I use the Care collection. And when it comes to curls, baby, you have to add layers. Like, it's mandatory. Otherwise, you're just gonna have one big fat ass curl, honestly. So, you want your curls to be moving, have body. Like, you don't want one curl to be moving when the other curl, like, you want them to move individually. Like, you don't want it to move as one unit. You want us to move like how real curls look. So make sure you add in layers. I just did light layers because she is gonna want to straighten her hair, so I didn't want to do too much. So just something light. You really want to do the most in the front though, because for that bang look. Y'all already know loose curls for the win, so that's what we're doing. That's why I'm not pinning them up after I'm done. I just why I cut the baby hair that I left out. It's so that it makes it easier to curl and it makes it easier to cut. If the hair was long, I will be curling like that whole piece, or it's just harder. Like, it's just harder when you're using this type of flat iron. If you have a curling wand, it's easier to just wrap the hair around the wand. If you're flat ironing it like this with the small flat irons, it's easier to just cut it. So I just like to cut it just probably like, 3 inches or whatever. And as you can see, I do not have a razor, but we are improvising with some good old scissors. Now, when it comes to scissors, the only bad rep that scissors have when it comes to frontals is that cutting straight across, cutting a blunt cut baby hair. But if you really know how to finesse it, which is what I'm trying to teach you in this video, then you can just cut it with the scissors, but just don't stay in one place. It's kind of like you cutting layers with baby hairs. Don't stay in one place. Kind of like you're cutting in a zigzag motion, basically. So now, once we start the baby hairs, I do use Got To Be spray. Sometimes I use the Eden spray, but Got To Be, I like that better most times because it's not as strong as the Eden spray. So I like to spray it either on the comb or on my hand at first and then apply it to the hair. I find it easier when I just apply the spray directly onto the hair, but either or is fine depending on your preference. I do both. But so yeah, you want to make sure you're combing out and then you're combing in. So comb out and make sure you get in that root. Now with the baby hairs, with the holding spray, it's something that you just kind of got to play with because the spray is drying as you're doing the baby hair. So I like to make what I would say like parentheses or C's. So that's really what you're doing. So you just combing out at the root, like out. Then you're bringing the tail, we don't call it the tail. We're bringing the tail right back in. It's already curled, so it's kind of easier to do it when you curl it as well. Now, I don't like to do thick baby hairs, so yeah, these are my baby hairs. It depends on if they prefer it, or yeah, it just depends on the client if they prefer it or not. But most of the time, I do them very thin and natural. Now, when it comes to my own baby hairs, that's a different story because I like mine a certain way. But yeah, so you just swooping it back into the hair. It's giving very natural vibes. I didn't slow it down or speed it up just so y'all could see exactly what's going on. Let's take a minute and look at this lace, y'all. Like, it is laid. Laid. And now you're just going to continue to do the same with the next baby hair, with the sideburn. You're going to keep needing new spray on your hand because got to be spray dries pretty fast. And I really prefer to use the comb part, but if you have to use the brush, it's fine. And I find that using the brush after you've already applied the got to be spray onto the baby hair, it makes the baby hair mold into something faster. I feel like the brush is kind of like taking up some of the got to be spray. It's making it less wet. The drier the baby hair is, the easier it is to mold and to form what you want it to look like, if that makes sense. Now, I do always, not always, but sometimes if I feel like the baby hairs are just too close together, like it's not enough scalp showing, because if you really look at like somebody's real hairline, you know, it's not going to really be like that. So when it's defined like this. So yeah, you want to kind of just go in and pluck. It's okay to pluck afterwards a little bit if it's just, you know, minor little hairs. enjoyed this video, please like, comment. I really love feedback. And make sure you don't forget to subscribe. And let me know what y'all want to see more of.